Since the final round of 1996, Ricky Carmichael has raced in 90 consecutive rounds of AMA US Motocross. In his nearly 8 years of never missing a race, RC has won 68 overalls with an astounding 75.5% win average. With records being set, broken, and rewritten every weekend, 2004 is easily becoming a bench racer's dream season. This weekend, Carmichael rides on the legendary Unadilla track with a perfect season. For Kevin Windham, perfect would mean defending his upset victory from last year. He's the only man to beat the champ in well over 2 years. The halfway point of the 2004 250 motocross season begins today. And we welcome you to New Berlin, New York, Unadilla Valley Sports Center. This is the AMA Chevrolet Motocross Championship. And hello once again, everyone. This is the Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Nationals at beautiful Unadilla. Todd Harris along with Cameron Steele. Today the skies have parted, the rain has let up. Davey Coombs is joining us down in the pits, but Cameron, yesterday this was the scene.
Yes, it was raining and it was wet. Canceled practice. It will affect the track today, but not as bad as you may think.
Well, after 5 races, it is Ricky Carmichael with the perfect streak. Chad Reed sits in second. Kevin Windham in third, and that might be the biggest surprise thus far, that Windham has not been able to do what he did last year. Remember, last year, of course, Windham picking up the big victory over Carmichael in somewhat of an upset, but it was a phenomenal run.
A total upset. I mean, shattering Ricky Carmichael's glass house of perfection. Came in and stomped it in moto number 1 and did it again in moto number 2 in fine fashion. And the first time we had seen Ricky lose in a long time. Kevin Windham was pretty stoked, and I'm sure a lot of people are talking about it.
You know, it's all anyone seems to be able to talk about this weekend, so hopefully I can come back and do it again. You know, every time we get to this point in the season, it seems Ricky has a little bit of a streak going, so I'd love to stop it here. And you know, we're finally getting back into a stretch of races where we do 3 in a row, and you know, I like most of the tracks that are coming up, so hopefully this will be a good weekend to try to put a stop to them.
Well, easier said than done. Ricky Carmichael looking very fast as he gets set to warm up, and I know he likes to race at Unadilla. He'd like to correct last year.
I worked my butt off this week. You know, I know Kevin beat me here, but I think he's a different Kevin than he was last year, and I'm a different person also. And I'm looking forward to racing. I think, you know, I can pull it off.
Well, there you see it, the career 250 wins at Unadilla. Carmichael right there with 3 overalls. Right now, we're lucky enough to have DC in the pits with us. Take it away, Davey Coombs.
Thanks, guys. The AMA record book shows exactly 2 defeats for Ricky Carmichael in his pro career here at Unadilla. Once on a 125 and last year in the 250 class, but both times the rider that beat him was Kevin Windham. Well, this year Ricky seems extra motivated. He's got the perfect season going so far, and he's also armed with a 450, which should even things out as far as Windham goes. One thing to keep in mind, he was 5 seconds a lap faster in practice. The biggest threat to Ricky right now might just be the skies, because guys, it looks like it could rain at any second.
All right, thank you, Davey. And the skies do look awfully threatening, Cameron. As we reported earlier, Saturday was a total wash, but there you see the weather forecast, 60% chance of rain. Cameron, take us through Unadilla.
Well, I mean, lots of elevation changes. There's grass on the track before the riders get here, usually on Saturday. Actually, then today we have grass for the first time. You'll see a little bit around, but the water is going to make it even more slippery, but it's always slippery here. It looks so tacky good, but it really is a little bit tricky. Let's not forget about the rocks over the track. Maybe a little bit more ruts than usual.
There is your Honda starting grid for 250cc Moto number 1 from Unadilla. This is stop number 6 on the circuit. We're at the halfway point. So if anyone wants to knock the king off his throne, now would be a good time to start thinking about it, because you don't want to let Ricky Carmichael get in a roll as we get set at the gate.
Now we'll see how it goes here from the start. See Reed getting sideways, but Burner coming out sideways, but still a great start.
Michael Bird, number 26, had a great start, but Carmichael jumps out in front. There's 22, Chad Reed on board the Yamaha. Reed goes wide. Now he'll duck in, tucked right behind Ricky Carmichael. So it's Carmichael, Reed, and Michael Byrne, 1, 2, and 3 through the first corner.
And a great start also looked like the 108, the Red Bull KTM rider of Joaquin Rodriguez. from Portugal, and Ricky flying out of the gravity cavity, but Chad Reed holding it on just a little bit more. You know, we've been talking about Kevin Windham because he won last year, but Chad Reed has not finished off the podium this year. He has been looking great, and I know he's really pushing, getting used to that 450. He wants to do battle with Carmichael. You see both Carmichael and Chad slipping up a little bit. Their foot coming off. It's slippery out there, and the ruts are catchy, and there are some very dewy outside lines.
Well, as Davey Coombs pointed out, we could have some serious rain. I know the riders are hoping that they get through the two motos before the clouds unload, but right now it is Carmichael and Reed out in front with Michael Byrne sitting in third. This is moto number 1, 250 class from Unadilla. Ricky Carmichael making the transition easily to the 250 and the 450, excuse me, and Chad Reed doing the same. Cameron, you talked about that transition. For a track like this, though, don't you think it's going to benefit them being on the big 4-stroke?
Well, you would definitely think so, but you know, Rodriguez just swapping back and forth and then taking a taste of the Unadilla dirt. He actually got to save a little bit of it. He didn't totally.
Look at it one more time. Look at the back. Look at the back wheel.
Watch him get out into the soft stuff. It looks like starts to slide and then swapping. Can you imagine if he high-sided on that first one into the uphill face of that jump? Oh, you say collarbone, but he is lucky. But let's talk about this other guy who's right there, the 103. That's Sebastian Tortelli.
Currently in 6th place is David Villeman, number 12, on board the Yamaha. Villeman in some traffic right now, picks a big, deep rut, comes right out of it. Remember, the 125 class also practicing and running on this track, so the track is going to definitely get a workout today.
And David Villeman, a fabled rider of the mud and ruts, and when it started looking like it was really going to rain, people are saying, Villeman, and let's give a big shout out to Casey Johnson, who's back riding aboard the Kawasaki.
Casey Johnson, number 121, on board the Kawasaki, getting back into the circuit. Hopefully, he'll have a good run today, and this is the start of good things to come for him. But meanwhile, back towards the front as Villeman tries to find his way around it.
And you can see Casey sliding around just a little bit where there's no ruts, and then watch when it gets deep. It's kind of hard to pick your lines, and I'm looking here, Villeman's going to the outside and going to drop in, but he doesn't really go all the way in. He's electing to go to that outside line because it's probably really slippery on that inside. I mean,
Villeman's showing a lot of patience, though. He's not going to push the issue this early in the race. So Villeman currently running in 6th place.
Well, the one thing you definitely want to look at, we talked about it on the track map. There are rocks everywhere on this track, and the roost hurts here possibly more than anywhere else.
Almost every one of the riders going with the hand guards today, loading up. Oh, look at that. Rider almost going down high-siding that one. Everyone loading up on the tear-offs.
And Villeman was the rider you saw getting a little squirrely, but what he was doing is he's reaching out to that grass. You can see the grass around. In some spots, there's still some turf left where there's no ruts and no brown lines. And it looked like he was looking for a clean spot to ride, and it looked very slippery.
Well, Ricky Carmichael running always the hottest gear, and we've got a rider, Clark Stiles, this early in the race, number 34 in the Subway Honda, and this looks like not a bike issue, it looks more like a physical issue.
Yeah, the Alabama Slammer, as he's known, and looks like he went down, and hopefully things are all right for Clark, but he's been a hard charger. He's been coming back from injuries and problems with his wrists and his back and his arms. It's just been a tough road for Clark all year.
Back to the battle for 5th on the inside, number 12 on the Yamaha. That is Frenchman David Villeman. Villeman dropping to the inside, so he gets past Casey, number 121 on the Kawasaki. So Villeman now goes to 5th place.
And Casey not giving up, but the Cobra striking.
Meanwhile, it's Byrne and Tortelli, the battle for 3rd place. Let's check in with Davey Coombs, who's with Tortelli's mechanic.
Well, Tony, I know that the wet weather doesn't scare your rider. Sebastian grew up in France and probably used to the mud.
Yeah, it's funny. Last week when it was raining, or the last race at Redbud, he said, bring it on. Whatever happens, I just want to ride. He's just really happy and excited to ride right now.
Been a long time on the sidelines for him. A good ride at Redbud. How can he improve on it?
Well, he needs to get 2 good motos. He had a good moto the first moto last week, or the last race, and then if he can get 2 good motos, that would be a great improvement.
Right now he's in 4th. You'd like to see him on the podium?
We'd be very, very happy to see him on the podium. Roger just said on the radio that that would really help everybody's morale. We're looking forward to that. I hope that can happen.
All right, thank you very much, Davey. Well, he finished 9th overall last week, and Sebastian Tortelli, Cameron, is he back?
Oh, definitely back. And talking about finishing on the podium, we haven't had a two-stroke 250 on the podium in the big bike class so far yet this year. And Berner also riding the two-stroke. Michael Byrne there on the 26. So they're doing a little bit of battling here, a little France lost right. And you see him go to the outside line, and Byrne taking the inside, but having the better line in the next corner or the line where he can keep the most speed goal. We'll see how it goes here.
Sebastian Tortelli, 103 on board the Suzuki. You heard Tony Berlini referring to Roger, talking about the head man at Suzuki, Roger DeCoster.
Who's also won at this track, so we got to make sure we point that out. You saw Michael Byrne get into one of those outside sections where it was soft. Oh, and now diving in between the trees here. This is a tricky section.
Sebastian Tortelli just clips his back wheel as he goes over there, but he's able to salvage it, and he moves into 3rd place. We're going to step aside, take a break. When we come back, more from Unadilla. This is 250 Moto 1. Carmichael, your leader.
As you can see, Team Suzuki, Sean Hamlin also not off to a very good start. See him walking off, and right behind him, Clark Stiles of the Subway Honda team. So that's 3 guys out so far. And check it out, getting ready to ride right past us, Ernesto Fonseca. That was one tough lap here at Unadilla.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Davey Coombs. It's like a medical report down there. It's amazing, Cameron. What do you attribute that to?
Well, I mean, the riders didn't get to ride on Saturday, so maybe the guys didn't get as much warm-up time. They're sitting around their hotels trying to stay out of the rain or whatever. And maybe because the track is just a little bit different. It is a little slippery in places where maybe they're not accustomed to. But as I said, it is always slippery here. And, you know, Chad Reed, if you look close, I want to point something out, too. He's riding on a different seat as you see him come out of the line. He's got a seat with a step on it, which we've seen Kevin Windham ride, and that's to keep him more in the middle of the motorcycle, so it kind of curves his behind his backside there and keeps him forward on the bike.
Speaking of Kevin Windham, here he is, number 14, currently running in 7th place. Not the run he had last year. If you remember at the top of the show, we talked about Windham's huge upset of Ricky Carmichael last year. And what's the difference with Kevin Windham this year? I mean, a lot of people talk about, Ricky talked about, this is not the same Kevin Windham. He just does not look as smooth on the track.
And you see him there, he had to hesitate right at that berm. I mean, I think Kevin Windham still is going fast, but it just seems like he's off just a little bit. Tortelli comes back, he's in his 2nd race, and one thing you can tie into this is Tortelli is fresh. He hasn't been racing. Right. He's amped to race. Same with Ricky Carmichael. He took the Supercross season off, and if he was maybe getting burned out, he came back just super fired up, charged, and both those guys are making huge charges, as is Michael Byrne. But I heard he's got a little bet going, a side bet with Skip Norfolk over at the Kawasaki rig. There's a little bit of money might be changing hands if Berner doesn't finish up there in the top 5, which he's already done once this year, so we'll see if he can do it again here. A great run going for him. One of the nicest guys in our sport.
Michael Byrne, number 26, on board the Kawasaki, and one heck of a good basketball player. If you ever need a guy to pick up the garbage rebounds, he is your guy. The Australian is out there right now, currently running 4th behind Sebastian Tortelli, Chad Reed in 2nd, and your leader, Ricky Carmichael. Meanwhile, Tim Ferry dropping back to 6th place. Tim Ferry's another guy, it looks like, so far he just has not found his rhythm in the outdoors.
He really hasn't, but he's been going fast. He's been in the mix a bit, but we talked about the injury. I know we keep talking about it, but it's going to take a little bit for him to come back, get his fitness up to 100%, and just be overall comfortable with everything. And we know Red Dog has the speed. He is one bad man on a dirt bike, not afraid to throw down. So we'll see him by the end of the season. We're halfway through after this race here at Unadilla. I think by the end, when we get to Glen Helen for the final race, I think Ferry's mixing it up for a moto win.
And I think Tim Ferry takes that momentum, and look out for Supercross in 2005. He and Kevin Windham should be fresh and ready to go. And look at Kevin Windham. He is just taking the roost off of Ferry as they go around that corner.
Off the 450, you see him ducking it? Oh, that's gotta hurt.
A lot of torque coming off that back wheel. Look at this, Kevin Windham as he's setting him up for the inside pass. Ferry blocks it perfectly. Here's Windham going to try it again. But look at his line. He's going right behind Ferry.
Remember, the outside is soft right here, too. We saw a guy stick there just a little bit earlier, and there are some very sticky spots. And we also saw Tim Ferry stick a bit earlier, about 5 corners back.
So Ferry starts to open up a small bit of breathing room over Kevin Windham. This is the battle, 6th and 7th place. Tim Ferry, number 15, on board the Yamaha 4-stroke. Kevin Wyndham behind him, number 14 on a 4-stroke Honda as well.
You see Wyndham like wheeling down the hill. That's the lapper they're getting by right here. Kevin was on the gas in that section. He's definitely looking at some different lines here. You see him go outside in. We'll see as they take a run up this big hill. Tim getting a little squirrely in that section.
So it's the 4-stroke of Ferry and the Yamaha camp and the 4-stroke of Wyndham and the Honda camp doing battle right now, and this is a great one. Looks like Wyndham this time picks the right inside line, and Ferry has no answer for him, so Ferry goes to a tear-off, gets an adjustment as he gets prepared for some of that 450 roost he was dishing out.
We'll see if he tries to retaliate, stay in there. You see him working that line, slowing down a little bit to try to stay up in that high side near that grass, but Kevin just throttling it on the outside.
Ferry and Wyndham battling back in the pack. Carmichael, Reed, and Tortelli continue to lead. The lush green hills of Unadilla was the final stop of the 1989 125cc championship. The hole shot in Moto 1 went to number 45, Damon Bradshaw, the factory Yamaha rookie. The beast from the east needed 11 points to win the championship, and the man he needed to beat, another rookie, Mike Kedrowski, number 762, was in a perfect position on lap 1, buried in 8th. It was Bradshaw's race, and not even the deep ruts and loam of New Berlin, New York could stop him. All alone in second was Bradshaw's teammate Mike Larocco, number 19. And the only battle at the front was for third between Eric Kehoe, number 8, and Kedrowski. The MX Key dropped Kehoe but never got higher than third. In Moto 2, Bradshaw still needed 6 points for the title and grabbed the early lead again. But Kedrowski got a better start the second time out and played it safe back in second. The win goes to Bradshaw, but the title is Kedrowski's by 3 points. And we are back to racing action here in 2004. Unadilla, the site. Ricky Carmichael now the leader. And interesting note on Ricky Carmichael, practice was washed out on Saturday, but on Sunday after a practice section, he took off his Fox jersey, a jersey that's not even available in stores until September, and gave it to a local charity for abandoned kids that they're going to auction off. Now, buying one in the store and having Ricky sign is worth some money, but taking one right off his back, Cameron, that's got to be worth a few shekels.
Definitely. And Ricky always willing to help out. You know, he's one of the more cordial champions of any sport. Talk to him anytime. He's really friendly with the fans and always has a smile on his face. And
except when he loses.
Yeah, and I was watching that flashback with Kedrowski winning it closely. Ricky Carmichael's running away with another season as we watch.
Ricky Carmichael perfect thus far in the outdoor season. As Cameron alluded to, he missed out on the Supercross season, had knee surgery, but came back strong and hungry. Meanwhile, Michael Byrne, who got a great start, currently runs in 4th place, number 26 on board the Kawasaki.
And he's got a rear view mirror full of one of the French connection, David Villemin, the number 12 Yamaha. And David is a guy who's had a little bit of ups and downs. You know, he came out really hot, and then he kind of, as I wouldn't say dropped off because he's still in the mix, but just not where he was right in the beginning of the outdoor season.
David Villemin currently running in 5th place, right behind Michael Byrne. As you can see, the rain starting to come down just a little bit more. It's held off throughout the day, but it looks like it's inevitable that we're going to get some moisture. Right now, let's send it down to the pit area, and that's where Davey Coombs is standing by with Jason Haynes.
Jason, looks like David and Michael having a real battle out there. Can you get him with 2 laps to go?
I hope so. He's giving it all he's got. Michael's riding really well. We'll see.
How's David like the track here?
It's pretty good, Euro style. Suits him fine.
You think he was hoping for rain?
I kind of was. Maybe second moto.
All right, thank you, David. We'll see if the French connection, as Cameron calls it, can pick him off and move up. And look at that.
Burner taking
Just
the chance.
airs it out.
We've seen riders jump out of the gravity cavity quite a bit like that, but there is a soft section. He definitely doesn't want to get passed by Villemin here in this moto, especially knowing if you know, he gets to the second moto and it's raining, Villemin's going to be real fast. He wants to have a couple more points than him going into the overall.
So Michael Byrne maintains his lead on the Kawasaki. Behind him, number 12 on the Yamaha is David Villemin. We just spoke with his mechanic, Jason Haynes. And I'll tell you what, it looks like Burner got the message. You're exactly right, Cameron. He does not want to give up these points because that second moto is going to be so important for him.
And as you see right there, his average finish position in motos, 8.2. That's not overalls, mind you.
Well, David Villeman continues to stalk him, trying to find a way. We check back in with our leader, Ricky Carmichael, out in front. Carmichael did a fantastic job on the start, did not get the whole shot, but quickly got around Michael Byrne and checked away from Chad Reed. The white flag is out, the final lap, 250 Moto 1 from Unadilla. I think it's a successful return of the king. He has done a fantastic job. Critique the kid. I mean, what else could he do better than he hasn't done today?
I've just been watching, and he's just so phenomenal everywhere. I mean, he carries his speed when he wants to. He just blasts the berms, and I mean, he always seems to be finding the right spot. Even if he does get a little bit out of shape, like on braking bumps or something, he just does textbook. Hold it on, pull yourself out of it with the throttle. Ricky Carmichael is just Ricky Carmichael.
Exactly. And he's confident enough to go out on a muddy day at Unadilla and wear white gear. So well done to Ricky Carmichael. Out in front, staying out in front. Look at the lap times. Unbelievable. A 2:11. And that was on lap 1.
But that was his best lap time.
Right.
His last lap, a 2:20. So maybe there's something going on here. Maybe he slowed down for lap traffic. Maybe he's not comfortable. Maybe something's going on with the motorcycle. We know we saw him slow down a bit, I believe, at Southwick with the air filter, thinking it was plugging up a bit.
But looking at the way he's riding right now, Cameron, I don't think it's the bike. I mean, the bike looks fantastic, and the speed he's carrying. Is there a possibility that he got injured, or you know, we saw him in the 125 class, stuck his leg out and hurt something?
Anything's possible. I mean, I'm not going to look into my crystal ball and
not yet
and predict something for Ricky Carmichael, but definitely when you see Ricky slowing down, there's a reason. And the one thing you got to watch out for, maybe he's just slowing down because, you know, he's so far ahead, like we were saying. But when you slow down like that, you start hitting the track in different rhythm than you're accustomed to, and that can be dangerous.
Well, if that's slow, I'll tell you what, that is unbelievable. The pace he is keeping here as he dropped his lap times by 9 seconds from the first lap to his slowest lap time, which we pointed out was a 2:20. So we'll have to talk to the champ afterwards and find out exactly what was going on out there. Like Cameron said, maybe he was just taking it safe. But Carmichael is picking the absolute perfect lines today at Unadilla in Moto number 1.
Well, I'm definitely trying to pay attention to see if there's anything to, you know, to look at there, and I really so far don't see anything.
Yeah, he's not giving us any indication the bike's wrong or that anything's wrong with his body, but Carmichael has been absolutely dominant here in Moto number 1 as the rain comes down. Your winner, Moto number 1 from Unadilla, Ricky Carmichael. So the streak is intact, and Carmichael is out in front dominating once again. When we come back, we'll talk to our winner, Ricky Carmichael, once again. Welcome back to Unadilla, the conclusion of Moto 1 in the 250 class. Let's check in with Davey Coombs.
Well, Ricky, I can't believe you did it. I think you actually outran the rain.
I don't think I outran it, you know. It's going to be wet. It started to get slick. I think about halfway it started sprinkling a little bit, so I slowed it down a bit. And, dude, I almost crashed so hard in the back section. My foot came off. I was sideways, and I tried to take a different line because there's a lapper in the way. And, man, I came out there and I went through a deep rut and just caught my leg. But it's a little sore, but not too bad. But it was a good race.
Well, we take a look at the Suzuki official results. It's Carmichael, Reed, Tortelli, Michael Byrne, and David Villeman finishing in the top 5. So that's how it shakes down in Moto 1. Let's go back down to Davey Coombs.
Chad, that was a solid ride. I got to tell you, you didn't win, but you are getting closer.
Yeah, I'm trying. You know, it's Ricky's riding great, and week after week we're trying, and you know, we're not going to give up until we win. And looking forward to it, and feel good this weekend. This is my least favorite track of all the tracks, so to get second, to run good is it's good for me.
My knee is feeling great. I know it's part of history now for me. You know, it was in the past, so you know, now I need to build on forward and, you know, looking for next year and just, you know, build on. And, you know, every day I'll go out there and train as hard as I can. You know, being for like a year and a half out of racing, it just, you know, you get 2 chances on your way. You know, or you like your life without racing and you stop racing, or the race is missing, you know, hitting in you and you want to go. And, you know, that's the way I felt. I just wanted to race as hard as possible. Racing is my life, and, you know, today that's what I'm here for, and I'm doing my best for it.
It's a pleasure to have you back, man.
I mean, it's so great to be back on the podium, believe me.
Well, folks, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Nobody does more to protect your right to ride than the American Motorcyclists Association. Every racer on the track is an AMA member. How about you? Call 1-800-AMA-JOIN or visit AMADirectLink.com. The AMA, rights, riding, and racing. Right now it's time to go outside the lines. The Millsaps training facility isn't a daycare for motocross kids, and it's not a moto vacation. MTF is like boot camp. Calling Millsaps is the boss. Located in South Georgia and operated by a group of individuals, MTF is a new and unique concept tailored to a rapid-growing market.
Well, motocross is a sport that really wasn't structured. There's no junior high motocross or high school or college, and it's a program that even at the pro level, they really don't have a structured program set up for the kids. And we decided that we would try this. So we'd take a kid out of Navy and have him till he goes into the pro ranks and see just how good we can make a kid when we have him from start to finish. Colleen is really structuring these kids to learn how to race. Most of these kids, when they get here, they're pretty good to start with, and so we're not changing a lot of their riding styles.
Riding and training is a full-time routine during a rider's stay at MTF, and much of the afternoons are spent on drills and technique with push-ups as payment for lost contests. MTF hosts riders from around the United States and world, and they stay right on site in the bunkhouse. Training begins first thing in the morning.
We just came up here to get fashion, you know. Up here is just you get a lot of riding time in, and Colleen's always there to train you hard. Up here you get a lot of seat time in. And that seat time and faster kids up here, it helps you to get faster. You push yourself to keep up with them faster kids. I was probably about like a 3 coming here. I'm probably about 5 right now. And before I leave, I hope to be a 10.
We are almost set to go. Unadilla, Moto number 2. When we come back, we release Carmichael and Company. Welcome back to Unadilla Valley Sports Center, round number 6 of the AMA Chevrolet Motocross Championships, the Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Nationals. Todd Harris along with Cameron Steele and Davey Coombs. We get a look at Sebastian Tortelli. There's Ricky Carmichael getting set for Moto number 2. Moto 1 was won by Ricky Carmichael. The rain, well, it might hold off. Right now, let's check in with Davey Coombs.
Well, the biggest surprise so far today here at Unadilla is the fact that the clouds did not actually open up. They thought it was going to rain really hard. It started to in the first moto, but it held off through the second 125 moto. And now it looks like it's just going to be good old rough racing here at Unadilla. Of course, keep an eye on number 4, Carmichael, going for his 102nd win. If he gets another start like he's been getting, guys, he's going to be tough to beat, especially since it's not muddy.
Well, Cameron Davey brings up a good point. As we look at the Honda starting grid, you cannot give Carmichael the kind of start he had in Moto 1 and expect to track him down.
Definitely not. I like to see Chad Reed get a jump out of that gate and be a player in front and see what he can do here. He said himself, though, it's not one of his favorite tracks, known as a Supercross specialist. Next event, we go to Troy, Ohio, where people are saying might fit his style a little bit more, jumps laden. This has really no jumps other than the one big one over the hill.
Wow, you were right. Chad Reed got a great start. Cameron, your crystal ball is definitely working today. So it's Reed in second place, Carmichael out in front, and look at this. Once again, it's Byrne.
And Byrne looking for an inside line on his fellow countrymen, both from Australia. And you see Byrne swapping just a little bit as the pack comes through. Shout out to the 64, James Polvoni Jr. there, somewhere in the top 10 as they come flying out of that gravity cavity. Chad Reed does not want to give up here. He needs to attack right away.
So Chad Reed going to stay in contact and get a good old-fashioned run-in with Ricky Carmichael. Look at this. He's already shown him some wheel. Number 22 on the Yamaha. Chad Reed coming to second place. Carmichael, your leader. And we could have a thriller in the Dilla today, Cameron.
Old-fashioned knockdown, drag-out. We saw that shot of Ricky Carmichael almost wadded up in that first moto while we were doing the podium interviews. It looked like he tried to do a no-footed knack-knack off a rut. And this is actually the section where it happened. Wow. And he's flying through there right now. It doesn't look like really any ill effects. Said he was a little sore, but right now just putting it right to everybody once again.
Carmichael, once he gets on board that machine, basically blocks out anything else. The guy has the same kind of focus as a Lance Armstrong. All he's thinking about right now is keeping his Honda out in front, and he's got good reason because Chad Reed, 22, the Thunder from Down Under, currently sits in second with a fellow countryman, as you pointed out, Michael Byrne in third, and here comes Kevin Windham. The K Double Bold is on the prowl.
He's looking a bit inspired there, but you would expect Wyndham, with the performances from last year and how things were going at Supercross, that he would make quick work of Berner, dispatch him quickly. We'll see if he can get right on by. You know he's looking for different lines because, as we said, that roost hurts like no other out there, but he needs to get inside and work right past him if he can.
Well, you'd have to give the advantage to K-Dub because he's on that big 4-stroke. Is this more of a 4-stroke track or a 2-stroke track that Berner's running?
You know, there's so much 2-stroke this, 4-stroke that. I mean, bottom line is ring them out and go. I think with the slippery conditions here, the 4-stroke's going to be a little bit of an advantage with the 2-stroke breaking free. And then look at that. I think, whoa, you get a little firework action there. Not sure what's happening with that, but you saw it almost looked like a brake check on Wyndham, slowed down and kind of threw Berner off his rhythm once he got past him, but I think it was just a case of Kevin getting a little hung up in that rut. We've seen problems there all day long, both in the 125 and the 250 classes.
So Kevin Wyndham, number 14, on board the Amstel Chaparral Honda, has moved into 3rd place. Wyndham, who picked up a huge victory last year, defeating Ricky Carmichael on this track, and he did it emphatically. Meanwhile, Tim Ferry in 6th place. Great day so far for Red Dog on board that Yamaha. Tim Ferry coming into his own, and we talked about that in Moto number 1, Cameron. We'd love to see him get the momentum rolling, especially as he gets ready for Supercross in 2005.
Right on it, and I think right behind him is the Motorsport Outlet entry of Craig Anderson, also from Australia, and looked like he was making a bit of a charge to stay in there with Ferry. We saw Ferry have a little bit of a slip-up. We're hearing rumors that Craig Anderson may be going back to Australia. You know, I'm not really sure what we're hearing out there. You know, it's all speculation, but I'd hate to see him leave. The guy winning a 125 national last year, and we want to keep him around here.
And he comes from good stock. Craig Anderson, Chad Reed's cousin. So forget the Aussie invasion. They are taking it to him right now. 3 of the top 7 riders from Australia. But Ricky Carmichael continues to dominate. His lead starting to grow just a little bit. Little tense times there.
Yeah, Mom looking on, and just kind of, she's been a huge part of Ricky's career, and she's definitely a huge player and been real good for him. So she's always a little.
Look at this, our guy Nick Way.
Did he throw a fist up right there, or was he just grabbing the tear off?
Craig Anderson sits in 7th. Nick Way right behind him.
And Tortelli right there. So
here come the Suzukis.
You got to really watch Tortelli, a podium in the first moto. You know he wants to get a podium overall.
So Tortelli coming into view with Nick Way both on board the Suzuki. And I'll tell you what, Sebastian Tortelli not in the best position right now, but looking good. Let's check in with Davey Coombs.
Tony, we're watching the battle between Mike Byrne and your rider, Sebastian Tortelli. And I think that might be for 3rd overall. Sebastian gets on him.
Oh, really? That'd be great. I think he's got something for Byrne, but I think he can possibly go and get the two Yamahas in front of him also. And I'm not sure what Kevin got the 1st moto overall, but yeah, I'll keep him going, and hopefully he can get the 3rd overall. It'd be awesome for the day.
How was Sebastian between motos?
He's calm and collected. He's in very good shape. You know, the guy's a training maniac. You know, he's awesome, Dave. So I think that he's probably as in good a shape he's ever been, to be honest with you.
It's a pleasure to have you and Sebastian back, by the way.
Well, thank you, Davey. I appreciate it.
Tony Berluti, a great guy, and alluding to the overall moto scoring as they do here. For the overall win, they combine both motos. That's why it's a little bit confusing sometimes not knowing exactly where everybody is on the track, and Craig Anderson looking like just giving way to the Suzukis.
So Tortelli and Nick Way both come through. Ando slides back 2 spots. Number 30, the Australian, having some difficulty in that section, but look at the Suzukis right now. They are absolutely on the rivet.
Well, the RM250 is a great bike, the 2-stroke, and these 2 riders still looking for a ride next year. We'll see if they fit in at Suzuki, and hey, don't go far away. We'll see if Ricky Carmichael can wrap this thing up.
Welcome back to New Berlin, New York, Unadilla Valley Sports Center, the Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Nationals, part of the AMA Chevrolet Motocross Championship. Todd Harris, Cameron Steele, and DC Davey Coombs down in the pit. Look at this. Look at this pass. The Cobra has struck.
Diving to the inside, a great move by David Villeman, and he cuts that inside line, takes the outside away from Berner, so Berner has to give way, and may have thrown him a little bit of a curveball. Look at the line choice by Tim Ferry going inside, and he also takes the line from Michael Byrne. So he starts in a different line. They come together. He's got the move on him. 2 Yamahas past the Kawasaki. this is going to make it tough for Berner to stay up there in that top 5.
Well, that's a good sign for Tim Ferry, because I think, Cameron, before this week, he might not have stuck his nose in there, gone for that, but gaining more and more confidence coming off injury, and we wish him the very best as he continues his rehab, and we look for a big year for Tim Ferry. Meanwhile, Michael Byrne, the loser on that one, because he loses 2 positions for 1, and look at him airing it out. Michael Byrne, number 26, on board the Kawasaki, trying to get back what was once his.
And, I mean, not only would it be a vicious landing if it was smooth and buttery, there is some sticky mud on that landing, and you hit it just in the wrong spot, it's going to be nighty-night Irene right over the bars, fender kiss, and dirt sample.
Great battle right now going on as we slide back in the pack. Here comes the duo from Suzuki, Tortelli and Nick Way. Nick Way currently holding down the 8th position from Michigan. Here's a guy looking for a ride next year. Sebastian Tortelli also part of that Suzuki tent. Let's go back up 8 spots to your leader, Ricky Carmichael. And I don't think there's anything wrong with the knee or the bike, because he looks flawless.
For sure, and both of those guys are prospects to be the other 250 rider at Suzuki full-time with Ricky Carmichael, so it'd be interesting to see also Ernesto Fonseca and Sean Hamblin in the mix there.
Rocking the black and gray for Fox, looking like the Grim Reaper right now for the rest of the pack, but Carmichael could headline also the Moto Donations team. It'll be interesting to find out what happens with him. Before we do that, let's check in with Davey Coombs, who is standing by down in the pits as Ricky Carmichael continues to fly by. Chad Reed comes through. Let's get a moment and talk with Darren Sorensen, who's standing by with Davey Coombs.
Darren, it definitely looks like Chad's hanging tough this moto. You guys have a little pep talk between motos?
Yeah, I just want to get him out front, get a good start, and have him at least battle with Ricky so that he knows, what he's got to do. If he feels like he can do something more next weekend or the next lap or whatever, that's cool. And then just give Ricky something to race against instead of just the track.
Wow. So the youngster, the mechanic for Chad Reed, giving him the business.
Rookie, as they call him. And Chad Reed already saying he'd like to compete for Australia in the Motocross Nations. And we know Ricky Carmichael would like to go. Not sure about David Villemin for France, but he's got Red Dog in his mirror. And those guys are teammates. And wow, he just kind of gave the spot to him, didn't he?
Kind of swatted him aside. Tim Ferry now into 4th place, so Ferry continues his assault on the leaders as he moves up to the pack. David Villemin now into 5th. Would you say Tim Ferry is a supercross specialist or motocross specialist?
I would, if I had to pick, I'd definitely say a motocross specialist. He's a guy that, really was, everybody talked about his outdoor skills, but he really has performed in supercross as well. And everybody watching the time, that's Mike Gossler, Ricky Carmichael's mechanic standing by, and there's a lot of lappers in this picture.
Carmichael getting tangled up right there with some lappers. Not the smooth corner, but when you're that far out in front, this is what you have to deal with in the waning moments of a race.
And that's how he got, pseudo-injured or almost got thrown off the motorcycle in moto number 1, picking a different line, trying to get around the lappers.
But Ricky Carmichael is so talented and versatile, Cameron. I don't think he's a one-line kind of guy. He comes into the corner, sees a crowd. I think he's comfortable taking a different line as long as it doesn't mean he's going to lose a position.
For sure, but it's that unknown line that, could cause you the problem. And
look at this battle.
Villemin going backwards a little bit here. He's got Berner, and then he's got all kinds of problems because his countryman is right in his mirror. In fact, he's already gone by. I can see him out the windshield now.
Well, Michael Byrne gave up 2 positions moments ago to Ferry and Villemin. He gets one of them back, but now he's in tow with Sebastian Tortelli. Meanwhile, David Villemin not having the latter part of the race going his way.
And
look at this.
Battle for 2nd place. Chad Reed with the foam helmet cover-up job to keep the mud off of Kevin Wyndham's helmet, but looks like K-Dub is looking to put in a 2nd place here. We'll see if he can do it when we come back.
And welcome back to Unadilla. This is round number 6 of the AMA Chevrolet Motocross Championships, the Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Nationals. Todd Harris, Cameron Steele, DC Davey Coombs in the pits, and this is a great battle right now. Welcome back to motocross. The battle for 5th, Sebastian Tortelli and Michael Byrne having an all-international affair.
And through the banners for Tortelli, looking for a way around. And also we have the battle towards the front, 2nd place. Reed with Wyndham right behind.
We have got some great racing action here at Unadilla, the halfway point of the season. Everyone looking to grab some points and stay in touch with the overall leader, Ricky Carmichael, who's checked out of this race. But look at this, Chad Reed. His mechanic said he wanted a little action on the track, but he's about to get it, but this time it's coming from the rearview mirror at Kevin Wyndham.
Well, he wishes he was racing out front with Ricky Carmichael, but so does Kevin Windeman. I got a little conference going on. That's Mike Gosler and Jonathan Hyland, the mechanics for Ricky Carmichael and Kevin Windeman. You can see Windham go to that outside line and swoop to the inside on Reed. He has a position to drop down into this next corner as well. Wow. Reedy swooping wide, but you can't really carry a ton of speed down the hill. You got someone parked in the rut. Oh, and Chad Reed nearly goes underneath with the blocking rider there.
So Reed slides back to third. Kevin Windham moves up to second place, and I think this is what we thought we'd see more of, Cameron, at the start of the season. So as the two big four strokes go by pit row, getting their signs, and this is not a good sign. Tim Ferry making a quick pit stop. Let's check in with Davey.
Steve, we just saw Tim pulling the pits real quick. What's going on with the Yamaha?
He's just got some problems with his fuel line. Either a rock hit it or split it or something, but he lost a bunch of fuel, so he pulled in because he was worried if he had enough.
I know you guys had a good moto in the first moto, but this one hadn't gone according to plan, has it?
No, it was looking pretty good, though. He passed a bunch of guys and was fourth, but yeah, another crappy one.
Well, Steve Mathis trying to keep a positive attitude, but his rider is showing definite signs of getting back in the game. Tim Ferry, wish him the best of luck. This is the battle for fourth. On the right-hand side, the Kawasaki, Michael Burns, Sebastian Tortelli on the Suzuki on the inside. Who's got the line?
Well, Bernard carries it through there, but Sebastian did a great job of holding that higher line in that semi off-camber section and dives to the inside. We'll see if Bernard can get a run on him here, but going into this big tabletop, it's going to be all Tortelli.
Sebastian Tortelli moves up to fourth place, and Cameron, he just looks, as you pointed out earlier in the broadcast, he looks hungrier, looks so aggressive.
Oh, it almost coming off the bike. You don't want to put your feet down, especially in that mud and the ruts. You know, Sebastian's got a history of knee injuries. You want to keep him on the pegs, buddy. But right now, keeping it on the podium. This will put him in third place overall.
And a good run from Michael Byrne, who now sits in fifth. This is the final lap. The white flag is out for number 4, RC Ricky Carmichael. And Cameron, it looks like the streak is going to stay intact. Carmichael has been dominating.
Well, he's definitely been on the rails and going hard. And, you know, a lot of people talking about the pseudo Supercross outdoor race of Troy, Ohio, which also allegedly is going to be in its last time around. They say they're not going to be going back there again after this year. That event moving to Colorado, but a big chance for Chad Reed to maybe step up and break the streak. If Ricky can go through there, I find it hard to believe that anybody's going to beat him other than Ricky himself.
And you look at the schedule upcoming with Washougal still to come, Glen Helen. Those are places where Ricky Carmichael really excels.
For sure, and you know, let's not count out Kevin Windham, who's been great at those tracks, especially Washougal. And Ricky saluting the fans. I think he's digging another perfect season so far.
I think it would be just fine with Ricky Carmichael and his mom. She could stop worrying because her son has done it again. Carmichael comes to Unadilla and will go 1-1 to pick up the overall victory. The streak is still alive, so the young man that takes the Supercross season off to get the knee surgically repaired comes back on a new bike even stronger. Despite all the off-season, motocross off-season controversy of switching teams, Carmichael has remained focused throughout. And I'll tell you what, he's doing a great job for sponsors, Honda, Oakley, Fox. They got to be proud of this young man.
Oh, for sure, and he's just a legend and just keeps growing the legend. And looked like Villeman slowing down to let him lap him, so he didn't have to do another lap there. Just another beautiful job by Ricky Carmichael.
Your winner at Unadilla, Ricky Carmichael.